Hello and welcome to our second series of Learning Blender. If you are unfamiliar with this series, we are basically just making videos so that people can learn how to make Blender, uh, objects and files and all that. So basically, if you haven't seen our first series and you're brand new to Blender, I would highly suggest you go watch that so you can learn to make a simple scenery. The scenery we made included a table, some chairs, some cups, and some lighting, backdrop. We learned how to render and all of that stuff. So if you are new to Blender, go watch that so you can understand better when you are following this tutorial. But besides that, yeah, we're just going to jump in it. So we're going to go ahead and delete the default cube and then add in a torus. Now this torus it's going to look like the wheel that we're going to make, and this wheel is going to be used for making a robot. Now this robot is going to be doing some simple actions like doing like a pull-up on a pull-up bar. However, it's not going to look like a cartoony robot. It's more going to be kind of like a box shape, kind of, and with some wheels. This is basically, we're going to be doing it kind of like the first robotic competition robot. So if you're not in the first robotic competitions, then I would suggest you go look those up so you can get an idea of what we're making. So here we are, we have our torus. Now if you click the way like I did, you're going to lose this drop down, so you're going to have to delete the torus and then add in a brand new torus and mesh torus. There we go. So now we have this drop down, and we're going to basically change the number of vertices. As you can see here, the more vertices, the smoother it gets, but we don't want those many vertices. We're going to actually go to the lowest option, which is 3. So now you can go ahead and click away, and we're going to go into edit mode. Now we want to select this entire outer ring, but I don't want to hold down shift and just select each one of these. Holding down shift to keep the other selected. This is tedious and boring, especially when you have a whole lot more vertices. So what we're going to do is do this. Use a shortcut to automatically select all of these vertices. So I'm just going to select one of these, and then off to the side I'm going to hold down Alt and select that, and there we go. That seems to work. However, you might have a problem where you find that you are selecting these vertices. That's okay, because Blender doesn't know which one you want to do, if you want to go this way or that way. So we're going to go around this way, so keep holding Alt and maybe pressing it until you get this kind of right here. And now we're going to delete these vertices. So we're going to press X and then press vertices. And they're gone. Now this is way too thin for a wheel. As you see, it's less than paper thin, basically. So we're going to select this torus, and we're going to go ahead up here and name this wheel. That way when we have more objects, it's easy for us to see what we're working on. And if we want to maybe select some objects that we can't really see, it'll just make it a much easier, make our life easier, you know. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go to this modifier properties, press add modifier, and then press solidify. Now we can pull this out to make this solid, and I'm just going to pull it out to 1/10 of a meter, and I'm going to press apply. So now we have this shape right here, and it's a wheel. A wheel with very square edges, though. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically try and make it so it looks like these squares right here do not exist. And what we're going to do is we're going to press shade smooth. What this does is it basically averages the distance between the vertices and basically figures out that distance and kind of creates a curve to average it out and make it look smooth. However, it looks very weird. Like sometimes you see it's trying to curve it along this path, even though the mesh extends down here. It can get pretty weird. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this and go into edit mode again and press Control R to add a loop cut. And we're going to move this up, not all the way, but most of the way here. So you can still see there's a small little space. We're going to do it down here and do it here. Press Control R again, here. Now if you press Control R and you find it here, just don't worry. If you left click, then we'll just go ahead and right click or left click and just press Control Z to get rid of that and you'll be fine. So basically you'll be back to adding the edge loops in the right spot instead of adding them here, which is not really what we want to do because this can make it look more like those squares we saw earlier, and we don't want that. So just go ahead and press Control Z to get rid of those. We're going to press Control R again here. Move these up. Check this side. Yes, we have this. Also, you see here how the mesh is being cut off. Basically, we're just going to pull this out right here, or you can use in. We're going to go to View, and we're going to change the clip start. Now what that is, basically, now we can get really close to the mesh, and it's not going to create this weird kind of cutoff you see here. We just want to keep that at 0. So now we're just going to add some more loop cuts on the top here. And there you go. Step back and magic. It is perfectly smooth. So next step is we're going to press Shift A and add in another object. This time it is going to be a cylinder. Now we're going to bring this down until there are 5 vertices. You can also press this and press 5 to select 5 vertices. Now we're going to press S to scale it down right about here. And then we're going to press S and Z to scale it downwards, so that looks good. And we're going to go to the side view, and you can see it fits within the mesh. So now what we're going to do is we're going to press face select, and we're going to press one of these faces, and we're going to press E to extrude them outwards until they're about inside of that there. Press E on this one, and you can kind of see what we're going to be doing, making these supports for a wheel. Press E again, and then press E one more time, and there we go. There. So just go ahead and do a quick visual inspection, making sure they're all within the mesh and nothing's poking out. So what we want to do real quick is just add a little detail real quick. So I'm going to press this top face here and shift and select this face here. That way we have both of them selected instead of selecting this and then not holding down shift, selecting that, and losing this right here. So we're going to hold down shift so we can select more than one object. And we're going to press I. That's going to basically insert this. So what we're doing is we can insert an additional face, and we're going to pull it out to about here. And we're going to press I again and pull it out here. Now we're going to use this and press Alt and try and get this loop here. And then we're also going to get this here, so Shift and Alt. And there we go. If it didn't work for you and you're having this, just press Control Z, try again, Control Z, try again, Control Z, and then try again. And you do have to press Shift while doing this, so Shift, Alt, sorry, that's Shift Spacebar, Shift, Alt, and select it, and there we go. Now the reason why we held down Shift is that we can keep this selected too. So now we're going to press E, and then S, and then Z. Now what that did is we just made an extrusion, so we can pull it out or in, and we pressed scale, or S, to scale it around, and we pressed Z so that way it only scales up and down. So we're going to pull it down here and kind of give it this embedment right here, and that looks pretty good. Just adds a little detail, and yeah, that's pretty much it for that part. And we can press S and Z to scale it down, make it a little flatter maybe, and that looks good. And we're going to press Shift A and add in a cylinder, and I'm just going to turn this into 32 vertices, and this looks good, so we're going to press S to scale it down, G to grab it up, and that looks pretty good. Go into edit mode, grab this face using face select, or just press 3, and we're just going to pull it up, and that's pretty good here. So we're going to press shade smooth, and now we're going to do the same thing we did with this. Now I can't really see the bottom one, so the bottom part, so what we can do is we can move this away or hide it pressing H, but I'm not going to do that. I don't want to hide all the objects in my scene if there were more objects, so I'm just going to press /, and this basically brings it to local view, user perspective, local. And now, this is the only thing we see. So we're going to press edit, and on the faces, we're going to select both faces and press I to insert a face right here, add some more vertices basically. It's basically the exact same as Control R, but for these faces, which are n-gons basically. As you see, it has a lot of edges, and this is actually technically improper geometry in Blender, but we don't have to worry about that. You see, usually you want these vertices to always be connected in a square pattern instead of something like a octagon or hexagon or whatever this shape is with these many sides. But yeah, it's you want them to stay squares basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the loop cut here and the loop cut down here. And there we go. Now we have our axle. So we're going to press / again. And here we are. So if we like the height of it, but we want to make it wider, we can just press S and then Shift Z and basically change how wide this is going to be. But this is pretty good for now. You can change the height of it, you know, scale it up and move it upwards or scale it down. But we're going to keep it like this here. So the last part is we're going to basically make it so that when we select one object, we can move all of them. However, we want to keep these separate objects because this we don't want to go for the process of working on the shade smoothing, and we want to keep it flat. It'll make it easier for adding different colors and all of that stuff. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to parent them all to this axle here, because if you hold a wheel and spin it, you're going to be spinning it by the axle, so it only makes sense to when we move this that the whole wheel follows. So it's actually very simple. We're going to press this wheel, we're going to press the supports while holding the S, and we're going to press this axle right here, and then we're just going to press, we're going to right click, go down to parent, and parent to object. And that's it. So now whenever we move this, everything follows it. However, if we move these, they don't move anything else because these are considered child. So basically, if we were to move this, you can see this black line, and that's basically pointing to where its parent is. And we just want to go ahead and name this, so I'm going to name it Axle. I hope that's spelled right. If not, that's embarrassing. Now, you may notice, wait, where did the wheel and this go, well, it's actually in this drop down. So if we drop it down here, we can see the everything it's parented to. So we're going to have this here and just name this support, and then the wheel is still the wheel. So this makes it pretty nice to know, okay, these are parented to this, so if we want to find it, we go to the axle and drop down, and there they are. So that's pretty simple. So I'm just going to go to File, press Save As, and I'm going to save it on my desktop, and I'm just going to name it Learning 2. And basically, I'm just going to press Save As. You can name the file whatever you want. Just make sure you keep that dot blend in there, because bad stuff can happen if you don't. I honestly don't know, and I honestly don't want to try. But that'll be all for today. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.